okay, when you go into the line, nothing else in the world matters. Your concentration is totally on the track and getting down the track and staying in the middle of the track. Pre-stage, when you're into pre-stage, you pull the high side of the fuel on and richen the motor right up. Tippy toe, just with the toes on the ground, push the bike into stage. Generally, within 2 seconds, the starter will hit the switch. So take a big breath, get ready to hit that throttle. You twist that throttle as hard as you can on the flash of the amber, and the bike will go left, right, up, down, into fire, or hopefully go down the track in the centre nice and fast with that front wheel carrying high. And you can feel it bending the wheelie bars and pulling that front wheel up 6, 8, 10, 12 inches in the air, and you know you're on a mission. Drag racing is a good sport for today. It offers instant results, and that's what people want to see today, is things instantly. No one wants to wait for anything. So I believe drag racing is a motorsport for the people of today. So it's financial pressure is limiting, but the family of drag racing is a wonderful family. It is a family sport, and I believe all drag racers form one big family. And if we can work together and have that aim of growing the sport further, is a great thing. We certainly need corporate sponsorship to bring in to ease the burden on both tracks and races, to allow racers to participate in more meetings. Everybody wants to run bigger and faster vehicles. That's not necessarily always the best way to go with your racing. It's good to have something that's affordable. I would like to see in the next decade or two drag racing probably expand with electric vehicles. I find electric vehicles very interesting, and I believe that they can fit into the drag racing thing without any issues at all, and that they're quite spectacular or quite awesome to watch down the track, but perhaps not spectacular, but quite a treat to watch. So in the future, perhaps some more very much standard-based vehicles for the younger kids to get involved with. So, a category that allows for just very much standard cars, electric vehicles, both cars and bikes, and some corporate sponsorship in there that will ease the burden, will allow competitors to compete at the level they wish and not be such a burden on the family income. People I admire in the sport, there's many really. There's lots of fantastic people in the sport of drag racing, but a couple of special people. Phil Howard, Bluey Nugget as I much prefer to call him. Phil was racing back when I started racing, and I think he's the most honest drag racer there is out there, and one of the best riders there is out there. Phil doesn't mind admitting that a fuel bike at times scares him, but while it might scare him at times, he controls those things better than anybody. He's semi-retired now, but Phil Howard certainly rides a bike as well as anyone, or better than most. Is an honest person, and just a great guy all around. The other guy another one of many that I admire is Pete Kapiris. Pete Kapiris certainly races at the top end of the sport, and that is what we need, people to do that. But Pete Kapiris doesn't necessarily race for Pete Kapiris, he races for the sport. He loves drag racing, and if it's good for drag racing, Pete Kapiris is interested in it and will do it. And so he's given up a lot of things to help drag racing, and puts a lot of effort into it. And while there's many other people that do that as well, we can always do with more people that do that. And certainly Pete, I think, is an extremely good example that lots and lots of people could follow. Okay, if I had a magic wand, how would I change the sport? I'd make everybody run fuel bikes. We don't need any other bracket. Fuel bikes is it. Nothing more is needed. No, seriously, pretty obvious one. You would bring in a major sponsor to sponsor Group 1, to take that burden of prize money off the tracks, but also to give that prize money to racers to reward them for their efforts. No racer is going to make, well, very few racers will ever make money out of drag racing, but it's a matter of being able to afford the sport and the passion that you have. So other than the thought that everybody rides fuel bikes, we'll have to go with a corporate sponsor that would fund Group 1, and that I'm sure would see a large increase in the sport right across the nation. Okay, things left in drag racing would really love to be able to win a meeting. A meeting with a gold Group 1 tree would be just about as good as it could get. In reality, I don't believe we ever have a shot at being able to win a championship. I think the best I've got is a second place in a championship, but in reality, to win a championship, I don't believe is realistic. But to be able to win a gold tree in Group 1 racing is a possibility, and that's certainly what we're aiming for the Nitros. I'd like to be remembered in the sport as being the first person on a fuel bike in Australia to go 5 seconds. Unlikely to beat that. I'd probably best, or like most, to be remembered for my racing and my fairness in my racing. You can fool as many people as you want. The one person you can't fool is yourself, and so you must always be honest to yourself in how you race. And if you're honest to yourself, then you're honest to everybody. That's probably how I'd like to be remembered. Certainly my work with Andra is great and rewarding for me. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a lot of work at times and a lot of hassle, but it is I believe very rewarding, and I enjoy it immensely. But at the end of the day, I'm a racer, and the last few years I'm a fuel bike racer, and I love that to absolute death. Okay, highlights of career. Probably my biggest highlight has to be 2013 Nitro Champs, when we ran the 658, 209 mile an hour. At the time we were looking at it and saying, well, this could possibly be our last pass down the track on a fuel bike. I was 8 weeks into chemotherapy at the time, and while I was still feeling good, we knew that there were certainly issues brewing, and this could well be one of either our last pass or one of our last passes. So we very meticulously put everything together and went to Sydney with that absolute mission in mind that we were going to, my aim was to run a 6 second at 200 mile an hour. Went to the line with the crew, having worked very hard and having looked after me very well for the weekend and not allowing me to do anything, so that I didn't use up the energy reserves I had. And on the green we hit that throttle, or on the amber we hit that throttle hard, and Gracie just picked that front wheel up and went down the track, and went to second gear, and she gave a big shake and carried the front wheel again. And after the 1,000-foot mark I knew it was fast. Got down the finish line, or got down to the braking area, pulled up, said to one of the officials, how fast was it? And I was sure he said 6. And something 8. I thought, it must be a 698. I thought, 698's good. That's a 6 second pass that we wanted. And I could hear the commentators over the PA still going off their heads. And I thought, it's been a fairly good run. So I said to the guy, I said, how fast was that? Do you mind me asking again, how fast was that? And he said, 658. I thought, he must have said 678. I thought, geez, 678, that's good. How good is that? That's just pretty special. My crew, who are very laid back guys, they don't show a lot of emotion at times, and normally when they come down the truck to pick me up, they're all just sitting in there, and I pull up, and they pull up, and I say, how was it? They say, oh yeah, it was alright, yeah. This time they're coming down the return road and they're hanging out windows. There's no one in the truck, they're hanging out windows, they're waving, they're yahooing. I thought, this is good. And 658, 209. To fellow competitors, to racers, to spectators, to track officials, to sponsors, The sport of drag racing is a fantastic sport that has been very kind to me. All of those people that I've mentioned, or groups of people that I've mentioned, have been very kind to us. We've been very fortunate to be able to race for a number of years, and while those years are now getting extremely short, it has been an absolute pleasure to be able to race for the last 35 plus years, and every time we've gone down the track it's been an absolute pleasure, even though some of it has had some pain associated with it. The benefits that drag racing have given us, and the support that drag racing has given me will always be very fond in my heart, and I thank everybody for being involved in what I believe is just a fantastic sport that I love dealing short burnout, push back 3 lengths to the line, I'll hit it, and hopefully it's all pressure to 330. I think had 12.5 seconds of data logging ability, so you had to get someone to turn it on just before you went into stage. Couldn't even afford to do it in pre-stage, into stage, because we were running like 10.7s then, This thing, I don't know, you can probably leave the data log on for 24 hours and it captures the whole thing. So we just turn it on before and turn it off sometime after, and the world is one. Side on a low side, and most of your warm-ups done on the low side, which is not too much fuel in. We had 800 degrees Fahrenheit exhaust temperatures. Went to the high side a little bit too soon, dropped it to 130 degrees. so all you've got is stage. So I knew I was up there somewhere. So okay.
Well, I think what I'm doing from anyway, but change the staging then, so that
we might stage the plane too.
Okay.
Rather than do that again.
Unless we want to have Joey up there sort of.
Oh yeah, and that would work.
Yeah,
that would work. Because that lane worked well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's probably the go.
Hello, my name's Paul McLeish. I'm currently the crew chief for Parker Racing. This is what I do for fun. My other life, I'm actually a city councillor, and I'm also currently the mayor of the city of Manningham down in Melbourne. But what I really love to do on weekends is try and either ride my motorbike or come here.
Okay, our sponsors, Parker Pumps, of course, that's me. But also extremely important is WA Suspensions from Perth. These guys do all sorts of suspension modifications to four-wheel drives, cars, whatever your sort of car type stuff, not bikes, but whatever your four-wheel stuff is, those guys, and even trains, they can make your suspension better. So don't forget WA Suspensions. If you want a pump, Parker Pumps can pump you. Going to Sydney for the Nitros. Really looking forward to the Nitros. It's always a great race meeting. The Nitros 2 years ago is where we ran our 658. Drew's there, and he's going to be hard to beat. But if we can come in one behind Mark Drew, I'll be more than happy, I can tell you.
What do you think, Bill?
Good run. Happy. Yeah. Had the all line flicker. Well, I had the red line flicker at one moment, which is connected to various warning alarms. And I had a little all pressure was fine, so we stayed in. I don't know where I got off half track or a bit before half track or something, but it was feeling fine. It was going straight. It's pulling strong. Everything we could ever dream of.
Look out, Sydney.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.